Hello. Let's see if people can hear me. It's perhaps not surprising, but I already have a warning. My stream is apparently unstable. I'm glad to see people here, though. I know some excellent folks who will come out and look at the weird thing that I'm doing today. And maybe hear some background noise as well. The sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. I guess if you can hear me, put something in chat. Otherwise, I suppose I won't know if my mic is coming through effectively. Thank you, Dreskarice. Wonderful. Hello, Den. Glorious to see you. So I suppose the follow-up question on this systems test is, how is my volume compared to the background music volume? Okay, I can lower it some. Maybe something like that. I do love the music. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the audio is the biggest technical challenge here. When I started up Sunless Sea to sort of get everything squared away for this, I discovered that since the last time I played it, which was not all that long ago, for a game as relatively old as it is now, there were in fact new stories to download. So I punched in my Fallen London login and got some new stories for this here submarine. I feel that since I'm in the extreme endgame of the previous captain that I had created for this, I will in just a moment start up a new captain. And I will try to be, well, interesting and charismatic as I do my best to remember what I'm doing and shepherd them through the early game here. I'm actually really excited to get back to this, as well as to obscure my ship's log with my little PNGtuber boy. Alright. Do continue to give feedback on the sound if it needs it, but currently, let's switch on over to gameplay. And here we are. And there I am in the corner, provided that's what you are all seeing. I can even sorta kinda wave. Yes, thank you, Anything Says. You are a wonderful artist, and I appreciate my silly little digital avatar that you gave me. And his silly little, now see here gesture. All right. So in order to get used to doing this the right way, let's point out that this is Sunless Sea with the Submariner DLC downloaded. I do have a game I could continue here, but I'm going to hit New Game. The art in this game is kind of incredible. It does more or less just throw you in here to London. And I'll read the storylit log here in just a moment. But this is pretty much what the screen always looks like. You have a top-down view of the setting here. Your captain is in the top right here. Your number of crew, your other officers, as well as my mascot, the comatose ferret. Occasionally, it's immobile. Mostly it's immobile. Occasionally, it's feral, which gives me +1 to my hearts. Inspire, heal, defend. Our other ones are pages, esoteric, and occasionally practical knowledge. Veils, speed, stealth, deception, decreases the range at which enemies will spot you. Mirrors, detection and perception. The higher your mirrors, the quicker you can find a firing solution in combat. And iron, destroy, increases the damage your attacks do. Over here in the top left is our ship, our fuel and how rapidly it's being used, our supplies and how rapidly they're sating our hunger, our terror, how rapidly it's increasing, our forward and reverse speed, our hold capacity, and our hull integrity. Down here behind me is our logbook, so if anything interesting pops up there, I'll read it to you. But for the moment, we have 50 echoes, the currency, and Captain's Making. Try to use my best radio voice here to make this interesting, because it is going to be a lot of reading. Just one of the things that I like about this game. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to you. Welcome to the Untersee. We need to choose a past, or we can decide to have a past wreathed in shadows. I like to choose one myself. So we're going to decide who you were and what you want to be. And this is roughly how the game progresses, is with these little status indicators that show up in your journal or sometimes in your hold that sort of tells the game where you are in each of the various little things that it can throw at you. So in this case, I now lodge in a room above the blind helmsman. It's my lodging. Where do I hang my hat in London? Let's continue. Who were you? Now you're a captain. Now you belong to the Untersee. But who were you before? We can be a street urchin, a poet, a veteran of the campaign of '68, an ordained priest, or a natural philosopher. I've done a few of these at various times, and they mostly give you stat sort of skews. You kind of read through them. We already have at least 1 vote for urchin from Draskar Ice, which is one that I do like using. But kind of show them off here for a moment. A street urchin. Your urchin gang cast you out when you grew too tall. You took to sea rather than graduate to larger crimes. That last big score was enough to buy a ship. This will give you a bonus to veils, the skill of subtlety and evasion. You can be a poet. Educated and articulate, you seek sensation at sea. How lucky you had a legacy to spend. Your long-vanished father had a rich patron, it seems. This will give you a bonus to pages, the skill of trickery and knowledge. A veteran of the campaign of '68, you fought in the invasion of hell. London's armies lost, you survived. Your loot and your pension have bought you a command. This will give you a bonus to iron, the skill of causing direct damage. An ordained priest. You fell from grace. There is nothing left ashore for you. An anonymous benefactor has found this way out for you. Perhaps, at Z, you can overcome your appetites. This will give you bonus to hearts, the skill of healing, and morale. Or a natural philosopher. Your peculiar theories on time, blood, and starlight brought you down to the neath, the cavern where London lies. And now they take you out to Z. This will give you a bonus to mirrors, the skill of detection and perception. All right, 2 votes for Urchin. Be a bit of a pirate democracy here, so we'll go with Urchin here. The only one I think I've never done is Ordained Priest for perhaps obvious reasons. And especially in the early game, Veils can be useful, as it helps you not get murdered by crabs. Always comes back to crabs. So here we go. Low cunning on the high seas. Your friend, another Longshanks, knows a little of gunnery. Only a little, but she can help. Talk to her to find out why she went to Z. You were a street urchin, now you're a Z captain. Your stranger quality has gone. Welcome to the world. I've gained 10 echoes for a total of 60. I now have 1 Longshanks gunner, notably up here. A Longshanks is a recent graduate from the urchin gangs, but where did she learn to fire a cannon? +1 to iron. We have a total of 50 Veils now, double what we had before, and someone in London requires your services and is looking for passage. Could maybe have been. In the regiment are Longshanks. Even stories do eventually evolve into crabs, you are correct. Continuing on. We need to choose an ambition. What does winning mean to you? We have your father's bones, immortality, fulfillment, wealth, and a private kingdom. So I haven't done all of these because I tend to die before I get very far in them, and I've only stuck to a couple. So your father's bones. Your father was lost at Z. You never knew him, but you've often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for a decent burial. Immortality. Eternal life sounds like something you'd enjoy, and it's said that the presbyter, ruler of the Elder Continent, has lived forever. This is the one that was added in the Submariner expansion. Fulfillment. Gather 100 tales. Learn all you can of the Z. Write a masterpiece. Retire. Wealth. You know how it is to be poor. Now you want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family, perhaps. Or, one we can't pick now, a private kingdom. Establish a colony where you are absolute ruler. A utopia, perhaps. Perhaps. So we can't choose this now, but we may find an opportunity to switch to it later. If we get the quality impossible at 1, we might be able to unlock it. Now, it doesn't tell us right off the bat what each of these are going to require of us, but all of them require quite a bit. So I have not done immortality before, and the immortalities have it. So I'm going to click on that one, use my Submariner DLC. Tall Tales. The presbyterate guards its secrets fiercely, but amidst the clamor and beer stains, the blind helmsman, a salt-scarred navigator, is telling tales of the continent's deepest interior, of a city called Nida, and the origin of the presbyter's long life. Where is he getting his information? Bring wine. He is susceptible to wine. You will find the navigator and your first clue in London. An occurrence. Your objective ambition quality is now liberate the secret of immortality. And it is said that 7 once tried to democratize death. Begin your quest in London. We are ready to go. The last scrap of paperwork. Captain! Captain! An irregularity with the Harbor Master's office. They wish to know what term of address you prefer ashore. This will determine what people call your captain, but your captain's gender is up to you. So, Madam, more Z captains choose this than you might expect. Sir, Citizen, a term of address popular among those of egalitarian sentiments. My Lord, perhaps you really do come from a noble family, who's to know? My Lady, similarly, and Captain will do perfectly well ashore as well as sea. Thank you. I have a tendency to choose citizen myself. I do like the idea of an urchin who goes by my lord or my lady. The enigma of captain is also quite fun. Oh, good. I also note that my stream stability is now rated excellent instead of unstable. So that's good. I do wish that I could spell it citizen, but I cannot. However, I will go with citizen. Citizen. Perhaps you're some sort of rabble-rousing enthusiast, eh? Last piece of advice. Explore. Take chances. This captain will probably die. The Z is hungry, but each captain passes on lessons to the next. Here we go. So now we get to choose our cameo and our name. Currently, we are this egg-balled profile here. We've got a diving suit. We've got one that reminds me of some of the art from Fallen London. Masked figure, differently masked figure, bandaged figure, mop-headed figure, turban, fashionable hat, pipe, even more fashionable hat, with a spectacle of some kind, a mustache and a hat, a glorious mustache and a wine glass, pipe and a captain's hat with a beard, sort of a Tintin style thing, a mortarboard of sorts, slightly mussed society hair, a couple of fashionable hats, a beaker, and a quill. I am partial to this messy-haired individual myself. And, I mean, I have a name in mind. I think some of our viewers are going to hate it if I use it. But, I think maybe we'll go by Celiand. Just for kicks. And hey, maybe we drown. And here we are. All of these at the side are telling us telling us the sorts of things that we now have available here. They appear as storylets here in our book. It is probably going to end up literally sunk costs, Den. And Draskarice, you will likely find that rooting against this urchin captain is rewarding to some degree, as well, they are unlikely to succeed, as it has been a minute, and this game is unforgiving at the best of times. So, here we are in Fallen London. Deep, dark, and marvelous. All voyages start here, and this is where successful voyages end. So we've got a few places that we can go. Our Ambition, a tutorial for Submariner. There apparently is a passenger. Our lodgings, and London. Lots of these are standard. Before I pick anything, I'm going to go through a quick tour of the rest of the interface here, because we can have the hold of our ship. Our ship is called Pavane right now. It's a Legaia class steamer with not a whole lot going for it. We've got some reconditioned weapons, an elderly steeple engine. We've only got 75 hull and 40 hold. Currently, that hold contains 10 fuel, 5 supplies. We have ourselves currently in unforgiving mode with no save slots beside the basic autosave. We can use our Invictus token to let ourselves go to merciful mode. We've got our advice for captains that we can peruse and then sell, and we have a whisper-locked puzzle box. Speak the right phrase and the tumblers will align and unlock it. But what is the right phrase? The Alarming Scholar may have some ideas. We could right-click to use this item. I do like the name Alarming Scholar. Our journal currently just holds the qualities that we have picked for ourselves so far. Our Ambition, Death Hath No Dominion. our lodgings in the Blind Helmsman, and our past as a street urchin. The objective, initial objective for our ambition, and then our miscellaneous sort of conditional little qualities here. And as far as accomplishments go, we have Mariner. You know something of the Untersee. Officers, we have the 2, our Longshanks gunner, who we can right-click to speak to, as well as our mostly immobile ferret that we can right-click to speak to. There are shops, of course, available in London where we can buy and sell, well, myriad things, but most significantly fuel and supplies, as well as in London, some trade goods that we will get into a lot more later, I believe, as well as equipment for our ship, which we can afford none of currently. There's quite a lot of it. Often pretty cool stuff, but we can get opticals and lamps. We can get engines and a smuggling compartment. We could get various assistance and weapons, as well as accessories like torpedoes and torpedo nets. I think that covers most of what's in the shops here. And we have over here the shipyards, where we can see our ship as well as the other ships that we could eventually buy. Can show some detailed information for those as well. There are quite a few of them, all the way up to a dreadnought for 30,000 echoes, and all the way down, if we wanted to, we could sell our current ship and make 500 echoes going to a steam launch, but I don't think it's wise. Torpedoes and torpedo byproducts. We will probably become torpedo byproducts at some point, if I had to guess. So let's check out our advice for captains here. The much lamented M. de Meaux found a watery grave long, long ago. Probably your end will be no better, but if you read this book of invaluable advice, your chances will improve. Gives us some advice on beginnings and endings, exploration, mercy, machines, places to explore, fighting, stories, terror, new stories. I'm going to trust myself to know most of this and just go to sell this book. I have 50 more echoes for 110, and that storylet is gone. I will try my best to explain things as we go. Our Submariner tutorial just has how to acquire a submarine, which I could probably use a refresher on. Her Majesty's Admiralty has sworn off submarine exploration. However, you've heard tales of unofficial research into submarine travel being conducted in her distant colony. Travel to the southern coast and follow it east to find Port Carnelian. There you will learn how to convert your ship into a submarine. Be sure you're prepared for the journey. I likely will not be. So, ambition, death has no more dominion. We need a cask of mushroom wine if we wish to hear our piece of hearsay. So we'll come back to this when we've got that. In the meantime, a couple of things that we can do in our lodgings. We can read the morning papers, because we don't have any recent news. The Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the Spiteful Trumpeter. News. Let's do it. News from home. The Echo Bazaar, that enigmatic marketplace, has increased its tax on love stories. The traitor empress has forbidden singing in the street outside her palace. The anarchists of the Calendar Council have inexplicably dynamited a drinking fountain. The Ministry of Public Decency has located and destroyed a nest of gallbladder wasps. So that got us some recent news. We do not have what we would need to visit our study because we do not have a study. We live in a rented room. We can rest there if we have some terror to get rid of it, and we can purchase an elegant townhouse from here if we need to. If we can, eventually. And we can eventually consider retiring from the sailing life. But let's go back to London for now. What's waiting for us there? Well, currently, our storylets are many. We can adopt a Blemigan Gallivanter. A Blemigan sits atop a splintered crate, clicking and whistling at captains as they come near. That's alarming. Visit the Admiralty's survey office. They'll pay for information from Z captains, find out what and how. Visit the university. We can't do that one yet. Carousing in the Wolfstack docks, we can't really do. We could hire on more crew, but we're already pretty close to full here, so I'm going to probably save my money there. We don't need to repair anything. We could offer passage to a tomb colonist to be taken north to Winterbite, though, which I may end up doing. This is the way that a lot of the story gets told in these games, as most of our current viewers will be aware, is just, throwing a thing out there and letting you learn about it. And, hoping that you like what you see and are curious enough to investigate it yourself. So let's start by visiting the Admiralty's office. The Admiralty's picket fleets and intelligence networks are long gone. The survey office pays Z captains a small sum for recent information. Visit and investigate ports to gain port reports and trade them in here. The first time you trade in a port report, you'll gain Admiralty's favor. We can get a couple of storylets here. Ask if there's anything in particular that they need. So this is they'll give us a mission sometimes to get a port report from a particular place. Well, if we can be assured of your discretion, this port, speak to our agent there and return. We'll see that you're rewarded. So we're retrieving strategic information from Gator's Mourn in the Corsair's Forest, somewhere not far from home waters. And that's about as much as we're going to know about its location for now. This is largely a game of exploration and high-stakes, low-context decision-making. So we are going to be looking for Gator's Mourn in order to find this. We don't have an appointment, so I'm going to click on this anyway, but they're just going to tell us to go away. Once you've proven yourselves, perhaps. Survey 3 ports and return to win the Admiralty's approval. So we're going to head back to London here and check out that Blemigan Gallivanter. A polite bow. You extend your hand, and the Blemigan leaps on. Its tendrils entwine with your fingers, and it chitters quietly. It meets your gaze and bobs its dome in greeting. It's very small. Is it old enough for naval service? You're pretty sure its mustache has been drawn on in pen in an attempt to look older. As you approach your ship's gangplank, the creature flutes and vibrates with apparent happiness. The bosun winces as you bring it aboard. What a keen little mushroom. Go over to officers. We now have a new mascot, which gives us +3 mirrors and +2 pages, which is a lot more than our comatose ferret. So let's go ahead and put our Blemigan in. Drask has observed that, yes, not far from home waters is some of the most dangerous places that you can go and fall in London. Which, yes, you can also explore the Untersee in the web based text game that this is spun off of and set in the universe of. So let's see. The other thing that we can do here is offer passage to a tomb colonist. An emigrant will pay to be taken north to Winterbite. Let's see about that. It's oddly difficult to die in fallen London, but when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take ship for the tomb colonies. Your crew cart these ones aboard in padded coffins. They'll sleep there until the journey is done. The tomb colonist is in your hold. Take them north to the colony of Winterbite and sell them there. Just what precisely is their problem? And a tomb colonist. Technically passengers rather than goods, but you'd never know what to talk to them. So yeah, the tone of all of this is very fun. I enjoy it quite greatly. And then we have our one here, a passenger. Someone in the docks wants to board your ship. Let's see what we've got. Agree to carry the anxious university student to Hunter's Keep. He has no money, so the other captains have no interest, but he's a passionate youth and promises that his studies on Lornflukes will be rewarding enough. So let's take on a passenger. Hunter's Keep is usually pretty close by. Welcome aboard. He jumps for joy as you agree to take him aboard. Thank you. Please, take me to Hunter's Keep right away. A Lornfluke, a full, dead Lornfluke washed ashore. I'm doing my thesis on them. Do you know they can digest human memory? And I may never have a better chance to study one up close. So now we have bound for Hunter's Keep. It is rare for something so awful washes up on shore. All right. I think we are probably about done here in London. And finally ready to set out to Z. I need to make sure I can actually reach my keyboard. I mean, I guess the other thing that we can do is talk to officers, but let's set sail. We can do that a little bit later on our first and second stops. So we'll close our gazetteer here. We can press E to launch. We have some controls down here for pausing with spacebar, toggling our lights, which do consume some fuel, launching our Z-Bat to explore, repairing using supplies or overheating our engines. And we can also look at our chart. And currently, this is our chart. So as you can see, we have a lot of exploring to do. So let's get going. So you steer just left and right, but you sort of chug up to speed. You can have speed 1 and speed 2. Our current, refurbished ship here is not particularly fast. We can get some text here every once in a while telling us where we are. The buoys will give off light, as will lighthouses, which will help keep our terror low. And while we are not docked, we have our engine temperature at medium, and it will consume fuel from this barrel, and our hunger will build up, and we'll eat at the middle bar here, so we've got to keep an eye on our supplies. For now, behind me here in the logbook, it says that on November 30th, 1887, we discovered Bad Stevener's Abyss for 50 fragments. Once we get enough fragments, we will be able to use those to improve ourselves. And we have a Zavarian tutorial popping up here, so I'm just going to kind of let that ride for a minute. Let's see what we can find. We also discovered Hunter's Keep already, which is promising. For another 50 fragments. Here it is. That wasn't so bad. Chugga, 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 chugga. Of course, I went the longest way around, but as long as I stay close to the shore, I shouldn't build up any terror, and I should also be able to avoid actually running into land here, which does hurt if you just run your ship aground. Alright. You may have heard a little bell sound. That's the something awaits you in port. Once you're out to sea for long enough, you have the ability to get sort of more storylets and events once you hit shore. So let's go ahead and dock here, saving our game and pausing everything. So, Hunter's Keep. A quiet isle, a grand old house. A hump of dark rock swathed in mist, like 100 other Untersee islands. But here's a grand house, windows aglow, lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight, raked gravel paths. You stand on the dock as the sea nudges your ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. So, there are a few things that we can do here. We're going to start off with delivering our student, I suppose. Well, it's probably, I guess, actually more polite to introduce ourselves. They will have heard your ship come in. Why hide? Let's present ourselves at the house first. Knock and enter. A maid with smoldering topaz eyes shows you into the parlor where 3 young women wait. A visitor, cries the youngest. The next youngest chuckles. The eldest sighs. Do excuse the indecorum, she says. Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You are in good time for lunch. Will you join us? So you are acquainted with the Sisters of Hunter's Keep, and on the surface, the sun still warms the earth, or so one assumes. You'll find a story when you next make port. So, we can have lunch with any of the three sisters here. We can reconnoiter the island for a port report. But first, let's inspect the Lorn Fluke with the anxious university student. It lies on the shore, just beyond a hill. You can just make out the fluke's spikes over the grass. Here we go. The anxious student rushes by you, whooping, but he stops on the hilltop. On the shore, standing before the mass of dead needles, is a drowny in a Nuncian postal uniform. He glowers up at you. "This is not where the fluke belongs," the drowny cries in a plummy voice. "It's to be taken elsewhere. It already has a delivery label. That means I have to deliver it." The student sneers. "Sod your label, citizen, help me haul the beast to Station 3. My advisor at the college has arranged room there for its dissection and study. My work will benefit us all." So, it is rare that something so awful washes on shore. Who will the corpse go to? There is only one fluke. They can't both have it. Transport the Lorn Fluke to Station 3. This is a once-in-a-lifetime study opportunity, the student says. Or transport the Lorn Fluke to Nuncio. It is labeled already, after all. Interesting. I don't remember having seen this one before, but it has been a minute, so I don't really know. On the one hand, I am in favor of science and research, and if there's anything to understand about Lorn Flukes, yeesh. On the other hand, I don't want to interfere with the mail, and I do have a sympathy for the Nuncian postman. It does have a label on it. You know, it is a federal crime to steal mail. And the student is very pushy. So let's take it to Nuncio. Well, I'm playing it in the US. Surely that counts, Den. If anything, the Nuncian postmen are a higher authority than the U.S. Post Office. Loaded with extreme caution, the Lorn Fluke is tied by very reluctant sailors to drag behind your stern. On your deck, the drowny postman smiles, relieved. "I was worried you wouldn't understand. Take me to Nuncio at your leisure." He glances over the railing. The anxious student stands on shore, shouting and swearing at you. Tears fall fast from his eyes. The drowny shrugs and heads below deck. Well, now I do feel somewhat bad about it. However, we do have some other things we can do here on Hunter's Keep. Let's reconnoiter the island. Plunging cliffs, soft green lawns, a well tucked away in a fold of the grounds. Anything else? I mean, I do have foreknowledge that there are other Lorn Flukes in the game. I don't think I'll have the opportunity to give them to this particular student, but you know, I would be upset if my mail got stolen for a grad student's thesis. Anything so's forgot that FL stood for Fall in London and not Florida. I mean, there are some similarities, I suppose. The sea's silence. Ships rarely come here. Nothing changes, even the weather. The house is the heart of the isle, the house and the sisters. But the Admiralty may be happy to know that nothing's changed, at least. So we got a port report for Hunter's Keep. An odd place. Best to keep an eye on it. And then we can have lunch. We've got Cynthia, who is the eldest, melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. Lucy, the middle sister, sunny, restless, and prone to giggles. Or Phoebe, soft voice, watchful, unpredictable. Fallen London man. I like the unpredictability of Phoebe. Let's go with that. Here's a story. Phoebe has a story to tell of two lovers parted by water, of a raven that carried messages, of a fragment of the moon. She beats time on the table as she speaks, as if to a song only she can hear. The effect is hypnotic. Your attention drifts out through the skylight of the dining room to the false stars glittering in the roof of the cavern. You drift like a puffball spore. The Untersee shimmers below. Islands lie like mineral specimens on black velvet. Ships bob like wood chips between the islands. Vast spined things pulse in the depths. There's a smell, a scent, like the scent before a storm. The storm came, Phoebe says quietly. Everything changed. Somewhere in there, you finished the last course. The scowling maid reluctantly serves cheese and Bath Oliver biscuits. So nothing awaits us at shore anymore. You now have one memory of distant shores. At the university and in tomb colonies, they'll pay well for stories of far lands. You're acquainted with the Sisters of Hunter's Keep. We have won supplies. We've lost some hunger. Our fragments have remained unchanged, and we now have Gods of the Sea, Storm's attention, and Ancient Anger knows you. I'm sure that's perfectly fine. Nothing to worry about there. Goodness. Not too much here. We've got our Tomb Colonist, our Admiralty Commission, Storm's attention. And our other little quests here, as well as our acquaintance. We've got our Tomb Colonist, our fragments, our port report, our memory of distant shores. All right. Storm is terrifying. Kind of no matter how you interpret that statement, it is true. Okay, let's set back out to sea. And I'm going to send my little Z-Bat out this time. See if it can report to us on anything in particular. There's something underwater some distance to the southwest. Well, that's not going to help us too much currently. Oh, good. The music has updated. Our terror is accumulating. I'm sure it's fine. I see some light, so that's good. Nothing to worry about, I'm sure. Sure. Fortunately, nothing has tried to kill me yet. That's good. So light can help to not only slow but even reverse your accumulation of terror in the short term. We've discovered Carissa's Point, and it says dust echoes, even a sepia tint to the air. These are the waters around the tomb colonies. I do love the music in this game. It's all so good. Here's Venderbite. Let's deliver our tomb colonist. The trouble with tomb colonists. Now you've brought this decaying immigrant north, now what? Help out an immigrant. Your tomb colonist passenger yanks off her bandages. She looks remarkably healthy for a tomb colonist. I'm not as dead as I look, she confesses, and I won't get ashore without your help. Yes, the constables are looking for me back home. Is that a problem? Make no promise of discretion. Keep your nose clean. You'll drop her off at the dock as promised. After that, it's her problem. There is significantly less fishing in this than in Dredge, but part of the reason I was excited about Dredge is because I had played this. A lot of tonal and even aesthetic similarities. Dredge does some of the type of dialogue mapping, although in significantly fewer words most of the time. as this does. Both are great games. I do enjoy both quite a bit. So I feel like, as an urchin ex-captain, we are going to probably want to help out our immigrant here. I mean, the constables are looking for her, so, you know, I can... oh yeah, it's even linked to our street urchin past. So let's help out an immigrant. Muffled oars. You slip your furtive passenger past the skin check post and the confirmation of consolation. Thanks, Captain, she remarks casually. Let me teach you a couple of tricks, just in case you need to do this again. And here's a little hush money. So, we've brought a criminal to Venderbite and assisted her. We gained some veils, which is actually great. 200 echoes, which is pretty good. We do now have some suspicion. Oh, you rapscallion. This will increase as you conduct criminal activities or have contact with rough sorts. The higher your suspicion, the more fiercely the exiles will search your ship. And of course, we lost our tomb colonist here. Let's see. We have indeed helped the criminal. Let's see. Give me just a moment here. Doing a little bit of twitchiness. Great. Apologies for the delay there. Let's see. Where were we? Ah, right. In the tomb colonies. On deck, you can hear the sound that 1,000 bandaged dead make as they shuffle and cough. It's something like the world's most restless concert audience or the world's most plague-ridden cathedral. Let's see, we have a few things that we can't do due to not having a submarine. We don't need the terror. We can explore Venderbite and visit the first curator. We can gather gossip. And that's about it. So let's see. First, let's gather gossip. Who's plotting what out in the tomb colonies? That's what gives us our port report. Along the coasts of the Untersee, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. You gather a haul of complex clues enough to keep your contacts in London interested. We now have a port report. Tomb Colonists fill their idle hours with conspiracy. Some of the conspiracies are of interest in London. Now that we have our port report, let's maybe visit the first curator. Z Captains, the first curator gives audience. The first curator is responsible for the preservation of the tomb colonies. It has been here much longer than London, like all the oldest tomb colonists. But even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close. The first curator's manse. No more light, the obsequious steward cautions you. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. He opens the door, and you step into near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz in a latticed ivory tube. There is no other source of light. That probably explains why the art here is just a black rectangle. A bandaged shape no larger than a child lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for you to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of the bees. To answer the question, chat, manse is essentially a mansion. It's a English truncation of the same French word that gives us mansion. Ah, yes, Draskarice has it. So let's see. We've got some options here. Listen to a whispered request. Sea Captain, Silkskin, not much left of me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Bring me colors, 7 colors. Pay well. We can ask about the Grand Sanatorium. One hears the name whispered here and there in the arcades of Venderbite. Can accept the commission. Thank you. This poor flesh thirsts for colors. Or we can depart. Let us listen to the request first. Cosmogone, Irigo, Pelican. Steward has list. Find them here and there across the wide Black Sea. I doubt we're going to get much information on the Grand Sanatorium, but we might as well ask. A long, low chuckling. Oh, Silkskin, you don't want to know. The chuckling becomes a cough. We don't die here below, not unless we go to sea. So we needed something else, somewhere to end. That's ominous. But yeah, let us accept the commission here. No more words. It collapses, rustling, back onto the couch. Even the effort of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obsequious steward nods. The book. Yes, the book. He hands you a slim, illustrated volume. The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do this one last favor. So we now have a book called The Neathbow, a book for children. 1 page is devoted to each of the colors of the Neath, which are not found on the surface. Return to the curator with each of the 7 impossible colors in hand. The book's pages give you clues, but you'll need to seek far ports. Glancing at chat. Y'all are funny. So, we have the 7 pages of the Neathbow for, I always pronounce this, Apokian because of the hard C in Apocalypse, but it's probably Apasayan because of Cyan. Anyways, awakes Apasayan, the blue of memory and brightest coral. Sea lights Cosmogone, the color of remembered suns, the fecund, the fetid, the fungal. These flourish in the glow of Cosmogone. G is lost in Gant, which remains when all other colors are eaten. Gant can be found where shadows are myriad. I is for Irigo. No one remembers why. Irigo colors the forgotten corners of home. P drowns in Pelican, the color of the deepest Z. Someone has scrawled in the margin, beyond the gate there is a sea more sunless. V marks violent, when blood is shed in a spired place. Violent ink is employed for the most desperate treaties. Behind your mirror, V names Virik, the color of shallow sleep. The blog that collected known correspondence sigils from Fallen London, back before there were quite so many that were known, is actually where I got the image that I got my first and so far only tattoo of. Just a fun little connection. So, let's see. We don't have too much else to do here, but we can explore Venderbite. Here, they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. A corkscrewed street. At the twisty tip of an odd little side street, welcoming yellow light glows from the gilt-lettered windows of a restaurant. A sign reads, "Vengeance of Jonah." A beefy tomb colonist bustles up. A gray mustache pokes impertinently out from under his bandages. "Come in, come in!" A bandaged poissonnier at Venderbite seeks passage with a Z captain sympathetic to intrepid cuisine. And hey, we've lost our only terror. The Vengeance of Jonah. It's a cramped little place, but much better lit than most places in the tomb colonies. The scents of the dishes are multitudinous and extraordinary. Are they good? They might be. They might be good. It's difficult to tell. So we cannot, in fact, sample today's special. The food here is exceptional. You need not fear poisoning or boredom. Definitely not boredom. We could, if we had a strange catch, offer it. The Vengeance of Jonah is liberal in its approach to edibility, so they would give me some supplies. And we can try to recruit the bandaged poissonnier. He's long wished to travel, but you'll need to outfit the galley to his exacting standards. That would be great, except, of course, that it's going to cost us pretty much all of our money, so we're going to try that again sometime when we are not so cash-strapped. But let's check our... he's very expensive, yeah. We've got the Arcade of Sighs. Here, the solemn bandaged merchants of the colonies trade old coins for brighter things. This is where we could buy fuel or supplies. We've got the Hollow Temple. The image of a long-snouted reptile god still stands in the temple, but now storytellers gather here. So we could sell our recent news and our memory of distant shores. Or, if we had a real tomb colonist instead of an ersatz one, we could have sold them here. The Charnel Lounge. Do you have tomb colonists? Drop them off here for payment. So... not too much to do here, but we can be off. I guess I'll use my bat to figure out which direction to go next, but I will slink north a little bit while I do it. There are no islands in the Z-Bat's range. Tragic. See, we discovered Pickett's Bluff, and we've gained a secret. Speak to your officers to improve your abilities. And that's something we haven't done. Let's maybe talk to one of our officers. Let's talk to our Longshanks gunner. Alright, Captain. What do you want me to shoot at now? The Longshanks gunner is not the most distinguished of officers, but she'll do until you find someone better. I'll swap you. We could spend a secret to improve our iron a little bit. We're close to 50, so that would be something we could do. We could ask her what she wants from life. Why did she come to the Z? Or if we had enough iron, we could proposition the Longshanks gunner. The gunner has grown bored of subtlety. Ensure your iron is at least 20 points higher than your veils. Our veils being high as they are puts this quite a bit up. Let's ask her what she wants from life. Can't shadow. It's like Flair Z, right? No one to tell you what to say or do, and no one to kick you downstairs just because you got a little bit tall. I'll be a faithful officer, but put me ashore at the Shadow and I won't forget you. Khan Shadow is east of the Khanate proper, in the east central Untersee. Alright, so we have like a little crew quest there. You can speak to our ferret. And try to attract its attention. It lies across your desk like a lumpy scarf. A weary roll of the eye. Play, that eye roll says. Play. I played once in the happy warrens of London, before you installed me in this floating coffin and made me eat dried food. Damn your play. It is an eloquent eye roll. I love this ferret and this writing team. I like that it closes your gazetteer when you finish that one. Let's see what, if anything, we can get the Blemigan to say. Your Blemigan gallivanter. It has made its home on a shelf in your cabin. It has built a nest from loose journal pages, the engineer's scarf, and possibly a pilfered map. Entertain your Blemigan. You can see the indentation of a porthole on the rim of its cap. It must have been pressing its face to the windows again. Is it bored? Our ferret is decidedly unenriched. I do like the art here that shows A, what a Blemigan is, and B, that it has in fact drawn a mustache on its face. A ticklish thing. The Blemigan flails and squirms as you tickle it. Its high-pitched warble is almost certainly giggling. When you stop, to check that you're not actually hurting it, it wraps its tendrils around your fingers and pulls your hand back. Apparently, it is enjoying itself. My experience has certainly been that bored ferrets are dangerous, Drask. But fortunately, I don't have to deal with this one in anything approaching a real-life scenario. So, it can be bored without risking my own personal safety. All right, let's go a little further north, maybe throw our bat out again. In the sequel, Sunless Skies, sending out your scout costs you supplies, so it is best done sparingly. You can be a little bit more, I see a very dangerous thing. So, December 2nd, Boreal Reach. Is this snow? Touch it, and it puffs to vapor. Your crew huddles close to the warmth of pipe and funnel. So yeah, we're in dangerous places here, and the snow slows us down. Snow sweeps down from the north. The ship's engines labor against it. But we have discovered Censor's Arch, so that's good. That is indeed a lifeberg. It is not friendly. Fortunately, my veils is relatively high. So let's see. The waves are cluttered with Z-rack, like drowned hair drifting. Hello, Nick Snack. Yes, the meme is suitable here for sure. Let's see. Andergard Harbor discovered. Whither discovered. And hey, we're speeding back up again. And despite the terrifying thing that we now have another one of off of our, what is that, starboard, I believe. Locker is indeed so much worse than snow. There we go. We've made it to Whither. All right. A chilly city beside a waste of salt. Yes, Drask, you can occasionally hunt lifebergs in Fallen London. You can hunt them in this game, too. I will not be doing so anytime soon, for what I assume are obvious reasons. I believe the first time I died in this game way back when it came out, it was because I got a little too close to one of those lifebergs and was unable to escape it. Behind the great arch over the bay, the pale wastes stretch, white and silent as the face of the moon. From here, you might almost imagine they were snow. North of the city, the salt pools fizz with unlikely color. Explore the town, where there is a quiet, chilly town of gray stone and closed courtyards. The people are neither exactly unfriendly nor exactly hospitable. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. So this is going to be our port report. Let's go ahead and do that. An intriguing smell. Who'll try? Who'll buy? A street vendor turns skewers on a grill. The mixed scents are nothing like anything sold in London. We can try the grilled troglodyte prawns. Pale and huge, and their eyes stare bleakly into yours, but they smell fresh. We could try the shredded jellyfish. It's not to everyone's taste. We'd only have a 30% chance of success because our hearts is not that good. We could try something mysterious. What exactly is Tyrant's Treat? The vendor is vague. It looks something like a charred stick dripping with bluish fluid, which would be a 15% chance because of our hearts. Or we could ask, do you have anything more robust? The vendor winks and produces a usefully anonymous skewer of meat. We can't do that one, though, because we do not have the menace unaccountably peckish. So I guess we're going to try the grilled troglodyte prawns, because we got to do something here. Not bad at all. Tangy and toothsome. Walk on, chewing cheerfully. So we've lost 5 hunger, gained 1 fragment, and used up our something awaits you. We don't need nor would we necessarily want shore leave and wither, but I'll read the flavor text. The folk of Wither are quiet and sly and mystical. They subsist on cave fish and the dust-burrowing beasts of the waste. Their beer, however, is adequate. However, we can gather intelligence. The citizens of Wither enjoy questions, so much so that they always answer a question with another question. This can make intelligence gathering frustrating. Here we go. Are you asking for any particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? It could be 6. Eventually you cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. Should we make it back to London, these reports will give us a little bit of pocket money, so that's good. We have Fortune and Fortune, purveyors of white coke and muter salt, payment and stories. So we're not going to be able to do that much here. But the Hunter's Cage, a sign reads, bones, please. The proprietor will sell you beast meat for stories or buy your ivory. We don't appear to have anything that we could sell him other than supplies, but we need those so that we do not starve. So we will not be selling anything here, and they lack a shipyard. So let's have a glance at our chart. We've sort of scouted the northern shore on a longitude with London, although I didn't get too close to the shore in a couple of places. So I think we're going to cut over before we get into anything more absurd and start angling our way back down south, where it's maybe a little less intimidatingly lethal. But we will do our best to avoid the lifebergs and the snow. Our best will hopefully be good enough. Oh, nope. So that's a lifeberg. It has 400 hit points. Our gun does 10 to 14 damage to creatures every 3.7 seconds. And the red arc is the extent of our ability to aim. So I'm going to just try not to die. That's going to be the name of my game right now, is Try Not to Die. Our firing solution is, not progressing currently because we are not currently aiming at it. But hey, I found Codex. Thank you, Anything So's. Let's dock. Whew. All right. We can't be hurt while we're in the dock. Escaping is going to be another thing entirely. Codex, an Isle of Answers. For those who are curious, this is a correspondence sigil. in this little piece of artwork over here. I believe that one means forever hurtling toward the earth. The Isle of Codex. Codex, a desperate cave full of mute exiles and an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. We can't agree to a damp request. Seeing your ship a drowning approaches with purpose. After a soggy exchange, it seems he seeks passage to the Untersee spire of Scrimshander. We do not have a searing enigma, so we cannot acquire a doomed monster hunter. This one has waited all her life for a single answer. Give her that answer, and she will be ready to lay down her life. But we can compile a port report and also not get minced by a lifeberg. No one will speak. This is a challenge. Silently forthright. The exiles see many come, fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, the meanings unclear. Even when you can understand, these are answers without questions, as useless as a key without a lock. So, the exiles do not speak, and the monkeys merely chatter grumpily. Still, there is information to be gleaned here. And so there is. And we have. There is, in fact, harbor provisioners. This is sort of the generic shop that shows up some places. A sluggish and hostile merchant squints warily, and a few goods of indifferent quality are available. I don't think we're too desperate on supplies just yet, but I probably do need to buy a couple things of fuel. I don't love buying it out at Z for 20, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna buy some fuel here. Let's see. 6 is probably enough for now. We're going to have other ports that we can get to relatively quickly. And for just a moment, I am going to put us back over. I don't have a standby screen ready, so I'm going to adjust my starting soon screen very quickly and put us over to that. And I'll be right back once I get the... text adjusted here. There we go. I believe that should be what people are seeing, so I will be back before too long. As promised, I am back, and just in time for the first song to finish playing off the soundtrack. So let me transition us back over to the game screen here, and transition myself back to looking at the game, and try to explore the presumably frozen north without getting minced by lifebergs. You know, those things that everybody knows what they are. All right. Let it wander away a little bit before I leave leave port. Okay. Seems far enough away. Here we go. Bat, go look for things for us. No islands within its range. Cool. Good. Well, light means people, so I'm going to head towards some buoys. Oh, good. Palmerston's Reach. There is brimstone on the wind. This music is very intimidating. That looks rather like a volcano and an active one. Discovered Mount Palmerston. Discovered Port Palmerston. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. It seems to happen a lot in the Untersee. Okay. Here we are at port. And we discovered some other stuff too. Ambrose Point and Duggan's Maw. Mount Palmerston. Brimstone. Always brimstone. Sullen lights glow green at the jetty's edge. Behind the port buildings, the island is knee-deep in ash. There are ruins here and there of houses destroyed by fire. Far above, the mountain's top flickers red, just for an instant. We cannot take note of a veiled woman because we do not yet have a submarine. We cannot engage an officer, the merciless modiste, as we do not have 5 bales of parabola linen. We can gather a port report. We can explore the island. And we can dig among the ruins. It does call us a ghoul if we do that, though. Perhaps the villagers left valuables behind. You could pick over their remains to see what you might find, you ghoul. And it's a 60% chance based on luck, taking 2 supplies, so I don't think we're going to do it because supplies are a little bit dear. Let's go ahead and compile our port report, chat to the port folk around the Brimstone Convention. There was a revolution in hell, and the aristocracy of devils fled here. Here, they plot an exile. I like how this aligns thematically the aristocrats of hell with French aristocrats and presumably hell with France in the English mind. A shrug and a curse. They don't do us any harm. They stay up there. We stay down here. If hell's not fighting itself, if hell's fighting itself, that's good for us all, isn't it? A detailed report on a place of interest. Weirdly apt indeed. I appreciate your consideration, Drask. So let's explore the island. Tangles of thorned scrub climb the rocky slopes of the volcano. We find a privateer encampment. This was an empty clifftop above the bleak waves. Now it blazes with color. Striped tents, colored flames, the music of pianola and kettledrum. Mustachioed women and languorous men play chess, carve bones, eat cats, and polish their terrifying brass weapons. These are the Iron Republic privateers, pirates whose practices contravene the very laws of nature. We could attack, which is a matter of luck. They are numerous, but lost to wine and music. You'll have the element of surprise, but it's very hard to know exactly what those weapons will do. That's a 50% chance. Or we could creep close and eavesdrop. The Republic is privy to the gossip of hell. Creep close, and you may learn impossible secrets. This has a 61% chance because of our relatively high veils. So I'm going to go ahead and take the higher chance here and hope that I don't get flayed. Here we go. Fragments of meaning. They are speaking of a raid on the Khan's glory, from which they stole pieces of prayer, of a boast that a rival band made about stealing the Empress's wedding dress, of a sort of spiced meat which fills the heart with love. But they speak, too, almost coherently, of privateer layers in the Western Wall, of passwords in use, of brass embassy protocols, and of tuning techniques for drawing lost souls close. A buzzing rises in your brain as you listen until your eyes become unfocused and your tongue feels thick and heavy. You creep away before anything worse can happen. But this is an odd and useful miscellany of facts. So we succeeded on that one, thanks to our high veils. We got 45 fragments and gained a terror. So not a massive windfall, but better than some of the alternatives, I'm sure. Fortunately, Malbolge excavations, Diggory, Lootery, and Scholarly, also Zoop, has pretty cheap fuel, as makes sense for a volcanic island. I won't be buying any of our export goods just now, as I have yet to discover where they might be saleable. But I probably will stock up on fuel. We also have daily bread, which is where you can get slightly price-ish supplies from Palmerston's Pernicious Pollution, Poisons, Provisions. Oh, welcome, LJX. I don't know how to answer your question because I'm currently at a volcanic island inhabited by devils, so I guess it depends on what kinds of threats I face, what exactly is Gucci. But thank you for stopping in. Let's see, is there anything else we need to do here? Nope, just buy fuel, I think. I think 5 is a pretty good number to buy here where it's cheap without filling up our hold too much. Let's see. Probably time to start heading south. If I can find some land or some light to do that, I will. Oh yeah, this is an excellent game. I was talking earlier, my first and only tattoo is a correspondence sigil. The one meaning the altar stone of an abandoned temple. A buoy to the south. I have played it fairly extensively, but not for a long time, so I'm kind of just getting back into it and being cautious while I do. As well as just kind of getting used to doing this. I'm going to try to be kind of taking time whenever I can to stream some games. I have Submariner, I do have the DLC. We just started this new captain, so we don't have a submarine just yet, but got the DLC. I guess that might make me the Altar Stone. I haven't decided exactly anything says. So let's see. We've got stalagmites loom in the distance like the cranes of Wolfstack docks, but vaster. The Corsair's forest. Our outlooks are watchful. And blue lightnings crawl leisurely up the funnel. St. Erasmus dancing, the cry goes up. So this is where we needed to actually get our strategic information for the Admiralty, for our very first errand for them. So let's see if we can't find the actual port. We've discovered Gator's Morn. That bodes well, as that's where we can dock. Did we find it correctly? Yeah, we'll be making our way down to Port Carnelian for the upgrade once I've laid in a few more supplies and explored a little bit, just kind of getting a soft start to it. But we'll be getting the submarine pretty soon, maybe or maybe not before I have to call it for the evening. Depends a little bit, but have it in short order one way or the other. Gator's Mourn. The Mourn is a stalagmite vast as a crag, and its foot has no safe harbors. The Corsair's citadel nestles halfway up. An intricate system of winches takes the strain, and your ship rises slowly from the Z. Her hull creaks in protest. Grizzled sailors groan and cling to stanchions. Higher, higher, now the Untersee shimmers like glass below. Children clambering in crevices cheer and wave alarmingly. The winch motor slows, and you hang in a cradle next to the red-bowed pirate cutter. So we'll probably stay away from the errant limpet right now. We don't actually really need the reduction here, but it's a drinking den by the dock cradles, a good place for your crew to find companionship and let off steam. But although Gator's Mourn is a free port, the Corsairs prefer their own and look askance at respectable Londoners. We can explore the Mourn. There's a surprising quantity of actual landscape on the Mourn. It's vertical, admittedly, but once you find the beast paths and urchin roads, you can traverse it as you would a rocky moor with an additional throatful of lurching terror. You can pay the loitering docker for his strategic information. Admiralty sent you. Price has gone up. It's not safe here. You'll pay the difference, won't you? And we will. It's only 5 echoes. So we can be nice. A grin. You're a generous soul. You'll have your reward on the other side of the river one day. Here's a little reward for now. Good sailing to you. The report is barely legible. Perhaps that's part of the code. The Admiralty will know. So we've got our commission and strategic information. The Admiralty will certainly want to know this. We can also, let's see, overhear rumors of a pirate poet. She hunts far from London, picking off both other pirates and travelers who sailed too far. Let's go ahead and hear some rumors there. Lies, nonsense, glimmers. Some say she's a clayman who freed herself with the power of verse, possible. Others insist she's the personal muse of the king with the 100 hearts, unlikely. One claims she sails on a living ship made of the still screaming skulls of her victims. More sober voices mutter that, no, it's just an Alcaias-class vessel. Whatever the truths, few have fought her and survived to tell the tale. Only the bravest of captains risk the lonely parts of the Z where her flag is said to fly. I do love me a pirate poet. I appreciate the clarification. I was able to put it together pretty okay, though I just lacked for a good answer to how was I in game. But out of game, I'm doing pretty well. Just whiling away some time until dinner here, doing some streaming and enjoying chatting with the folks who dropped by. So thank you. Let's see. We can gather intelligence here. Our port report requires a roll. Gator's Mourn swarms with pirates, smugglers, and captains of uncertain allegiance. You could learn a lot here, but you'll need to go carefully. So we're going to give it a try. Our Veils is our highest stat, so we can maybe do all right there. We failed our challenge. You and one of your more villainous-looking sailors join a dice game. Villainous-looking, but you know for a fact that she tithes to charity and has a delightful singing voice. The topic turns promisingly to pillage and ambush, but your sailor is a little too forward with her questions. There's a scuffle and a stabbing. You escape. She does not. So we did get our port report, but we gained 5 terror and lost 1 crew, and she sounds like she was... she will be missed, I'm sure. Let's see. And then all we can do here is explore the Mourn, so let's go ahead and do that. A contretemps with Corsairs. Fights on the Mourn have a staccato quality. A careless lunge will send you plummeting to your doom. So wait and choose your moment carefully. Fight, you're good at that. Unfortunately, I'm not good at that. Our iron is not very good, so we don't have a 26% chance. Or flee. The better part of valor is discretion. The better part of discretion is not falling off a high cliff into a rock-fanged sea. So we got a 61% chance of succeeding here, which hopefully will go better than our last 61% chance. Oh, good. Away into the darkness. You plunge through a washing line, clatter down a flight of unsteady wooden stairs, cut across a fish market, and duck through a colonnade of faceless statues. Your pursuers are gaining on you until the statues, and then they drop back. Disconcerting, but they're gone. So we did succeed, at least. But gained 3 terror in the success. So, we're just trying out those terror mechanics for anyone curious. That's what we're doing. It's totally intentional. Everything is expensive here. The errant limpet, always eager for wine and honey. Their supply prices are calibrated for corsairs. Fortunately, we shouldn't need too much. The friendly face. Of course you can sell illicit goods here, and of course you can't expect to get a fair price. And we don't have anything that they would buy here, but you can see that some of them are pretty outstanding in terms of their going price. No ships here. So we should probably make a little bit of a circuit here, head on back down to turn in our accomplishments in London, and get some reasonably priced supplies at that. But no reason we can't do a little bit of exploring while we do. Let's see. No islands in the Zbats range. Not super surprising as we were just coming out of port. But we're gaining some fragments and trying not to run into buoys. Getting used to paying attention to everything at once. I tend to check my chart probably more than I need to. A habit I shall need to moderate, I think, if I am to continue playing this on stream. That's okay. This is a learning experience. See if our bat finds anything here before we get into a fog bank. No islands. It's okay. We're headed relatively expediently towards Hunter's Keep, which is fairly safe going. We might run into a crab, but I could probably kill a crab. A sluggish wave, the Z pitches. So moody. I love the atmosphere in this game so much. I have significantly fewer hours playing it, so I recognize some things, but not necessarily everything by sight, especially since it's been quite a while since I last spent a lot of time in it. But we're in home waters now. And have discovered Low Barnett, which has been on the map, I believe, since launch, if I'm remembering correctly, but you couldn't really visit it until they added submarines. Yeah, the music cues become really Pavlovian really fast, I think, for me at least. Which is why Fluke's Fathoms, the very screechy, ominous music, has such an effect on me. Alright, we'll head out south this time, probably. We'll see what the Admiralty gives us, I suppose. So we'll start working our way down toward where we can get our refit. Here goes. Oh, good. The Review Men. Her Enduring Majesty's Customs Service works closely with both the Ministry of Public Decency and the Masters of the Bazaar. Today, they have selected you for an inspection. Don't cheek them. Let them do their worst. You have nothing to hide. Declare all your controlled goods. Pay the customs duty on any untaxed souls or romantic literature. Surrender any smuggled sunlight. Talk your way out of it or set something aside. I don't have anything that they're going to be mad about, so, I only have the one suspicion. Vexed and frustrated. They roam your deck like wolves. They tear through your belongings like termites. At last, they leave. Yeah. The way this game is constructed and randomized actually really impressed me because it sort of constructs the chart every time, but things move around in parameters. The large eye is one of the earlier memorable things that happened to me here, and I would agree this is one of those games that really just kind of sticks to my brain. I'm not very good at it. I'm not an optimizer when I play things, so I tend to just kind of go by whim and intuition, and so I have seen less of it than I think I might otherwise have, but I really just kind of keep coming back to it in my imagination a lot of the time. I have not, in fact, dived into the large eye. That actually is a really fascinating prospect. I've really only played one submarine captain since I got the expansion who lived very long, and I'll admit, one of my sort of more serious real-world fears is deep ocean. So I do just kind of wig out when I come across the large eye, and I have not tried to dive into it. Though I guess now I will give it a try and see what happens. Returning to London, the lights of London welcome you home. We can collect messages from the harbor master. All the clatter and song of the dockside, it soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? So let's see. Something has changed underneath. We've got Time the Healer. Someone wants to sign on. We have a free evening, and the Rose Market bustles on Roser's Wharf. Who will be there today? All right, let's see. Got a few things we can do here. Let's consider a specialist surgeon. She's staying at a respectable boarding house near the docks and has made it known that she is available for work. I specialize in amputations. It's easy to acquire unwanted appendages at Z. So we have the option of employing the clattery air. Her talents could be well employed on your vessel. It's a doctor who increases hearts and iron. We could use the iron, and she's not that expensive. So I think we're going to go ahead and grab this. Welcome aboard. She comes with a bag full of knives and her own personal sharpening stone. Don't touch these. Don't let anyone else touch them. I'm going to appoint our new officer by dragging her. Let's see. Clattery air. An expert in amputations. I'm sure it's fine. Let's go ahead and put her on as surgeon. She increases our doctor aboard to 1 from 0. And our hearts and iron by 6 each, which is going to be useful, I think, for us. Let's see. Check out Roser's Wharf real quick. The Rose Market caters to collectors and eccentrics, anyone with exotic tastes and the gumption to harass Z-captains. According to the archaic rules of the market, you can only make 1 trade per visit. Choose wisely. I don't think I'm going to have anything that they actually want here. The long boxes and live specimens are lacking. But we can escort some interested acquaintances to the Rose Market. They hope to make a satisfying trade. I'm not going to spend my free evening on that because I won't have anything to sell them either way. Yeah. The starter ship is pretty unremarkable, and the starting engine is not very good. We'll bank some cash relatively quickly, I hope, and upgrade. So we have a little gift. A very fine evening to you, Captain. My what you might call mentor is very fond of adventurous Z-captains, and he would like to offer you what you might call a dispensation on account of he's so fond of Z-captains. Behind the blind bruiser on the dock stands a dray piled high with fuel and supplies. So we can accept the dispensation of fuel and supplies, or come back later. It wouldn't be embarrassing to have to leave it on the dock. Let's see, we do have the space, so it's all good. We can inquire about the patron and a catch, or we can refuse, the being too good to be true. I have never had anywhere close to 1.2 million echoes. I will admit that I am not an optimizer by nature. I just tend to kind of play idiosyncratically and on a whim. And in most games, those present who have played a game with me before can probably attest to my relative disinterest in optimization. It makes for good adventures, but certainly more circuitous playthroughs of games like this one. I have fun with it anyway. I like doing crime, so I'm going to accept the dispensation because it's fun to do crime. A courteous nod. Well, my patron hopes that you find these little gifts to your liking, and he expects that perhaps someday you might choose to call on him at the Medusa's Head. Should that day come, we will make you very welcome and give you any safe conduct what you may require. Good evening to you. He salutes and is gone. So we got 10 fuel, 5 supplies, and gained some more suspicion. I'm sure it's fine. Right, let's see. Let's check what's going on in London. We need to pay the visit to the Admiralty because we have things for them. So let's see. Got some port reports and some strategic information. So let's go ahead and turn in our port reports, and then we'll do the strategic information after that. So you have something to tell us about the pirate fleets of the forest? Absolutely. Cool. So they pay you a little bit more, you get fuel for first visits. Other subsequent visits, you can still gain port reports just essentially for free money, but of course those are diminishing returns as you move into the upper echelons of income in the game. Nothing again, like the 1.2 million boasted about in our chat, in my experience, but can give you a little trickle here. So Hunter's Keep, I trust these sisters are keeping well. They are citizens of her enduring majesty, notionally. So not worth very much in the way of echoes, but we can get some fuel for it, which, never a bad thing if you're just going and charting things. Let's see. The Brimstone Convention. They trouble me, Captain, from Mount Palmerston. A few more echoes for that one. Up to 3 Admiralty's favor, which is what it allows us to meet with the dark spectacled Admiral. What have the Nearly Dead been up to, then? Just 10 for that one, but some more fuel as well. Whither? I refuse to ask any questions. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. Go. Codex. Exiled for giving answers. That's Wither for you. Anything new? And I do like that about this writing style in these games, just to kind of meander a little bit, is you learn things about places just from talking to people about them. It's neat. Not the only games that do that, but ones that do it well. So, let's turn in some strategic information. Here we are with the dark spectacled Admiral. You're ushered into his office off Mansion's Pyre, a cramped room with a vast desk. He surveys you across that desk. Ah, yes, the merchant captain of whom we hear so many complicated things. So, we can pass on our strategic information. We don't have anything else that he really needs right this instant, but we'll peruse our options here. So, the Admiral sits up, although he steeples his fingers and pretends calm. Invisible eyes. He's hard to read with those glasses, but he reads the summary intently. Satisfactory, he says at last. Eminently satisfactory, actually. Good work. Take this for your trouble. The clerk will see you paid. 150 echoes, and we're now up to 7 Admiralty's favor. So we're slowly accumulating some funds here or beyond and above what we had. So we don't have anything that he would accept here, but we can ask him what he needs. just another explanation of port reports. Visit a port will be interested in the port report. Visit places of particular interest and will be interested by the strategic information you gain thereby. We'll pay you well, don't worry. I understand you can't be expected to act entirely for the love of the Empire. His lip curls. What's left of it? And I believe we can also ask him if he has anything in particular that he needs. Getting another assignment for some port reports. Let's see. Ah, the Chelinet. Probably be a moment before I end up at the Chelinet. As it is, as the prompt said, far to the east. Let's stop by our lodgings. Let's see. We can't do better for lodgings and we don't have a study yet, but we can spend 10 echoes to reduce our terror. Trying to see if there was anywhere else I could spend my free evening. Let's see. See if we can get rid of our terror in other ways. We can visit the university. The university has an inexhaustible appetite for secrets, specimens, I guess, and other tidbits of esoteric lore. Provide a secret to prove yourself worthy of entry. Have 3. The Rose Market. We can carouse in Wolfstack with our free evening. Could hire on more crew, which we might do. A little more expensive than I want for something that's not urgent just yet. Carousing is fun. Cheap, but an 80% chance. She could never be replaced, anything so. She was special. I do feel bad when I lose crew. Carouse will reduce terror, yeah. And there's chance involved, so let's carouse. We were fortunate. A good night out. Sea shanties, good companionship, and the warmth of a pub fire. We lost 5 terror, 30 echoes, and we have recent news. Let's also establish our bona fides at the university. Quite impressed. Oh, yes. The university's maritime liaison whispers breathily. Oh, yes. This is quite a tasty one. Let me explain it to you. He explains, teeth glinting. So, we now have combed the sea for stories and other treasures. Sorry, the Z, my bad, for stories and other treasures. And we've gained 1 pages, which I think was a worthy use of a secret. Den, I believe, is perhaps referring to the Longshanks gunner, who we do still have. We lost an anonymous crew member who was minimally characterized in the same text in which we lost her. So the alarming scholar here is mercurial, to say the least, a creature of sudden moods and provoking teeth. Possibly her appointment as university maritime liaison was precautionary, to keep his razor-sharp enthusiasm from causing too many injuries in the faculty. Ah, yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? And so we have various types of knowledge that we can trade to the scholar in order to get other things. Our chess partner. A piquant piece of picaresque pilgrimage. Yeah, pages are a great investment for growing other stats quickly, and just hoarding secrets in that for that matter. So, trading our memory of distant shores, wells of emotion. As the alarming scholar listens, tears well in the depths of those shining, or is it blazing, eyes. They overflow, splashing onto the desk blotter. Stop, she sobs at last. This is too beautiful. Allow me to bring the macaw of memories. I wish each individual tone recalled. So we gained 10 echoes, not a amazing exchange rate, but we also are increasing our favors antiquarian, which is not nothing. Let's see. Our terror is not too bad. I don't think we really need to spend a ton of time. We don't have anything for the Roser's Wharf. We're going to be pretty good on supplies, I think. We have plenty of fuel. Probably don't need to stock up on anything right this instant. So, away we go off to the south. Very slowly in my little steamer. The older saved game that I hadn't touched in a little while that I opened earlier to just test out that everything was working for stream has well, a very, very burly engine comparatively, and so this crawl is particularly galling. Let's kill an Auroral Megalops just for fun and profit, to show off some of the combat. Take a hit here in a second. Ha! Managed to kill it right before that happened. The Megalops defeated. With a forlorn and wailing cry, the Megalops turns on its back, legs neatly folded as bluish blood gouts from its wounds. Its golden glow begins to dim. We can dissect it for knowledge, a low-risk challenge of our pages, or butcher it for supplies. I like knowledge. Let's do knowledge. A crab full of conundrums. You set to work with your knives and acids. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a megalops, one of the deep-sea crab species, but its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are rather large and beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then to your knife. So we got some fragments, which is good. You know, not an amazingly substantial haul, but useful all the same. There it goes. It has sunk. We've entered the fog bank. Let's see, where's the port for Mutton Island? Gained a secret. Hoard those for a minute. Discovered Murray Straits. Fed the crew. Let's have a look at Mutton Island. Quaker's Haven. Here we go. No shops available. Once this simple fishing village was part of the London suburbs before London fell and the waters rushed in. Smoke spirals from cottage chimneys. A lonely hill rises behind town. So we can't do anything with the wandering parsons just yet. We could do drinks at the Cock and Magpie. There's only one public house on the island. The Cock and Magpie is famed for its local cider and, of course, seafood. Time is passing on Mutton Island, it would seem. We could explore the shore, wander a little way along the shore from the dock. Stories do await us. We could pick up a wretched Mog. Oh boy, it's asking me to make cat sounds. A yellow-eyed, mangy, piebald thing winds around your ankles like a manacle chain. You've never seen a cat's mouth open that wide. Presumably, it's hungry. So we could give it 3 of our 6 supplies in order to recruit it. I think I'll probably wait on that, as I already have 2 mascots. We can chat with the fishermen, spending 1 echo to gain a port report. They sail the Z around the island. They mend their nets by the harbor. They see all that happens here, but you'll need coin to open their mouths. You can visit the hilltop above town. There's not much wind on the Untersee, but Mutton Island suffers eerie gusts and buffets from an inexplicably local fragment of weather, and the air on the hilltop sometimes carries interesting scents. And we can buy supplies. Rosy-nosed merchant is well stocked with crates of mushroom and dried fish. It's the best you can do here. It's pretty expensive. And fuel, also pretty expensive. A woman with soot-stained lips has crates of coal to sell. All right, so I think our first order of business is to grab that port report. Little ships and little secrets. Pirates plying the waves, smugglers at their work, connate ships putting into resupply. Nothing dramatic, but enough to interest the Admiralty. You never find much news on Mutton Island, but it's intelligence for the Admiralty nonetheless. Let's see. We can explore the shore, visit the hilltop. Those are, I think, going to be mutually exclusive because they both require us something to use our something awaits you. Well, this one is a stat challenge and a pretty good one for us with our 84%, so let's give it a try. The voice of the wind. You stand on a cliff top looking over the little whitewashed village. Smoke from the chimney of the Cock and Magpie drifts straight upwards. As you watch, the smoke tilts. The sudden wind thins it to a pencil smudge, then nothing. The wind screams unexpectedly, like a god cut in half. The scream subsides, giving way to a susurrus that surrounds you suddenly with the illusion of whispering voices. You could swear you hear the words, "In the depths, under 7 poles, nowhere, 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 nowhere." It must be the caves around the island channeling the air. At least, that's the most comforting explanation. Below you, the locals each take nips from a shared flask and make a toast toward the mainland. The wind is a southerly. We've gained a secret. That's pretty good, honestly, for a low challenge action. Well, I don't think we need drinks at the Cock and Magpie, so let's head out further south. Need to start wrapping up here before too long, unfortunately, but we can at least keep moving in the appropriate direction. Nothing else. Little ships throng the waters here. The crew grow wistful. They swap old stories of sunlit sea. We draw near the Cumaean Canal, the way to the surface. I'm sure it has gone noticed by this point, but my pronunciation is varied and inconsistent on things. It is, I insist, part of my charm. Discovered the canal and the Albertine gates. Hello, Gillyfloor. Take a moment to kill this thing and take a little damage in the process. Once upon a time, I was pretty good at fighting things in this game, but it has been a minute, so I'm likely to continue to take damage for the next certain number of fights. Gillyfloor's End. The Gillyfloor. Is it a young jellyfish? A lesser subspecies? Do the dreams of jellyfish become real? In any case, now it's a sad slick of goo dissolving into the Z. We can scoop it up, maybe eat it. Better yet, perhaps your sailors can eat it. Or let it disperse. Watch its oil rainbow colors fade. Interesting. I forgot that there was a connection to Visage here. It's been a minute. We're not so desperate on supplies we can't grab a Z story. A face? From above, the Gillyfloor's cap does look like a little like a woman's face. She dissolves like smeared paint. Evocative. Love it. All right. Let's go put the Gennady Harbor on our chart. Here we go. There are shops here. Yeah, they're not wonderful, but they're there. The Cumaean Canal staging area. The canal ascends through locks and gates and shadowed turns to the sunlight of the surface. We can't travel to the surface, but if we could, the sun is dangerous to Neath dwellers like your crew, but the surface has its temptations. Ensure you're well stocked with supplies and fuel, or you may never return. We lack the menace yearning burning, so we're good there. We don't have enough fuel to make it, but it only takes 2 supplies. Let's see, we can listen for surface gossip, gather a port report. Yeah, it's a perfunctory port report, but still. Many ships pass this way, but perhaps you'll pick up something they missed. Business as usual. The gates open and shut, the locks remain free from sabotage. If anywhere besides London is safe in all the Untersee, it's here. The surface nations have an interest in keeping the way open. So, the way to the surface, and a marvel of engineering, the Admiralty has a very modest interest. And sure, let's listen for some surface gossip. The ships of the surface linger here. This is their lifeline to a warmer place. Daylight. This would be a prime spot for a pub or wine shop, but the interests of the Echo Bazaar and the laws of London prevent it. They don't like competition. Still, there are temporary, half-legal hostelries in long-moored ships. Here you trade stories with sun-tanned surface sailors, stories of Paris and Batavia, the lost fires, and the final isles. And that's all we can really do here for now. It's nice to have a relatively safe place on the way south, south, south. All right. Make our way down. I guess I haven't spoken to our new doctor yet, but I'll do that at the next port, perhaps. No islands in the Zebat's range. That keeps happening. Open water. Terrifying. Yeah, I was talking earlier about deep ocean being something that I am afraid of. And there, Adam's Doom. It's after me! So let's see, we've got sizzling vapors rise from the sea. Time slips sideways. A coil of rope has stung a stoker, and his fellows beat it to death.